it's still discovery if you're asking those questions. Hey, who wrote First John?
Yeah.
Oh, John wrote. Who was John? Oh, he was one of Jesus' best friends. You know what I mean? That kind of idea.
Was there 3 Johns? Were they triplets?
Yeah,
and
triplets.
It was like George Foreman, George Foreman 1,
like the
George
Three
Foreman.
Stooges.
Yeah. Hey, welcome to the Revolve Recap.
Welcome, guys. Hey, the Revolve Recap is Revolve Church's weekly podcast.
It is.
What do we do on a Revolve Recap typically, David? What do we connect with? I mean, we're connecting.
We connect.
So
we
what else
connect
do
with
we
you.
connect
We
with?
connect with each other. But we connect with God. We talk about, what God's doing through his word and through the sermons. And then we connect in what's going on in Revolve.
What's going on?
Yeah, we talk about discipleship groups, talk about discipleship relationships.
Try to encourage you guys in the mission, connect to that mission. You know what I mean?
It's the up in and out of Revolve. So I'm your host, David, and this is my co-host, Billy. Summertime Blues.
Ooh, birthday Billy, actually, this week.
Yeah. Yep. So throw a happy birthday in the chat. Maybe
buy me some clothes. I'm at the stage right now. Has this ever happened to you where it's like everything you own all of a sudden wears out at the same time? Where you're like, oh, I don't need like one pair of shoes. I need like 2 pairs of shoes. I need like all my new. So, buy me some clothes.
Well, how about
a good looking clothes? I don't wear no scrubs.
We get you like a subscription to Stitch Fix, and then you can get some cool clothes.
Who knows?
I just saw a video on YouTube with Weezer and the guitar player.
They want to destroy my sweater.
And the guitar player was just wearing like a Dickies like coveralls, like a mechanic. I feel like that should be your thing.
Be my thing.
He just only wear coveralls.
That's like Steve Jobs said that. He's like, wear the same shirt every day. It's one less decision to make. But what if my decision should be Dickies coveralls?
There you go. It's already done.
No matter how old, how cold, how hot.
Nope. You just got it.
That's it.
Well, you can put like zippers on the sleeves. So if it gets hot,
snaps.
Yep. So we're going to talk about the announcements. What do we got going on at the church?
Yeah,
Billy?
welcome to the announcement section. I'm your host, Billy Boy. But the first announcement is this. Look at David's face. The first announcement is this. New reading plan, David. We got a new reading plan. It launches August 31st. David's got a little copy of it. He's going to show you the copy. Okay. You can also download it on our website, revolvechurchnj.com/reading plan.
Yep.
revolvechurchnj.com/reading plan. Second announcement, baby.
What do we got? Oh, yeah. We have praise and worship service. It's the 5th Sunday in a month, and we kind of we just switch it up a little different. But the big thing is we're giving a break to our serve staff, and but we do know the people with the little babies,
The little babies.
Yeah. So if you have a little baby and you're like, the baby's crying, I'm feeling a little self-conscious, and you want to take them out back, we are going to have a little nursery set up in the foyer. I guess. Yep. That was going to be. So,
and if you want to help volunteer for that, make a comment or text us. Let us know. Just like a little 30-minute block. You don't have to sign up the whole time.
We still want you to be able to come in and sing and worship and pray. But it's a nice time of just, we read the word, reflect upon the word, we sing and we pray. And it's just a nice time of...
it's one of my favorite times. I'm looking forward to it.
As am I.
Third announcement is discipleship group signups are wide open. Now, most groups don't really launch until like October, but you can start signing up now. And so you can go on our website, you can go on the app, you can fill out a connection card and make a note. We are adding something this year that's a new adjustment, David, and that's this. Before you can join a discipleship group, we are requiring people to go through the ABCs. Mm-hmm. So it would be like a 5-week commitment before you join a DG so that everybody's on the same page with the DNA of what Revolve is all about. Because the DGs, your discipleship group, is really where you are living out that DNA of the ABCs of a healthy disciple and healthy discipleship.
Yeah, so we'll probably in the next week or so have a list of, and we know that sometimes, nights are bad for some people, daytimes are bad for some people. We're going to offer the ABCs in various times throughout the week. So we kind of have something for everybody. And, but I think that really helps just get everybody on the same page as we're launching into discipleship groups. But if you're interested in joining a discipleship group or you're interested in leading a discipleship group, You go on the website under the news section. I think that's where it's listed. And then, but on the app, I just found this out today. If you go to the announce or the Kim called it the chat section. I don't know what it's called, but it's
you find it on the app, you sign up, boom, bimzo, bamzo, dunzo.
Yeah. So you're smart. Figure it out.
You'll be fine. And if you can't figure it out, put a comment in the box.
This is Revolve. We're like, we're gonna make things really easy and really streamlined to get people to join discipleship groups. And then we're like, no, we're not.
We're trying, guys. We're doing our best.
We'll figure it out.
Hey guys, that's all your announcements for today. And now we're transitioning to the question of the day. I have a question of the day today, a quatad, not a Tales from the Road.
No.
I got a question of the day. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
What's the funniest thing you could say to someone right before a fight?
What's the funniest thing you could say to someone? Well, my first thought would be, you wouldn't hit somebody with glasses, would you? Because I have glasses.
What about if it was more like threatening?
Oh, like how I would threaten to you. Like, I'm going to hit you to the moon, Johnny.
How come all of your comments are like a 1920s Coney Island guy?
Well, because I'm thinking of like the funniest thing would be like a cartoon. So I'm thinking of like if I was in a cartoon, like a Looney Tunes, like what they would say.
You
like,
wouldn't punch a pregnant person, would you?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. That's the funniest thing to say to someone before a fight, a fist fight. So
yeah, like someone's about to punch you.
I'm in Wildwood and I cut somebody off by accident.
And
I'm
get out of the car
and they're like road raging and they're like, I'm gonna punch your wife, and I'm like, no, you're not. And then I'm like, come on, Johnny. I'm gonna knock it to the moon.
Exact situation. So they're like, I'm gonna punch your wife. You get out of the car. He's like, I'm gonna punch your wife and punch your kids, and you're like, you're not. And he starts coming at you, and then in that moment, you're like, I'm gonna say the thing that is gonna. The goal would be to say something so funny.
Yes.
That the guy just starts laughing. And then he's like, you know what?
Yeah.
You're a cool guy. He just fist bumps you. So
all I can think is to the moon, Johnny. I'm gonna knock you to the moon. And I would do this with my fist. Like I would I'd be like I'm loading it up like I'm a cartoon character from the 50s. I think that'd be hilarious. Because I think if I was about to fight someone and they made it with their fists like they were Arsenio Hall, they're like,
it would be pretty funny.
Here you go. I'm going to knock you to the moon. I would be like, this guy.
Oh my gosh.
This guy's special. Maybe I shouldn't hit him. What about you?
I mean,
you thought of the question.
Yeah, I was thinking.
See, this is the thing with question of the day. I just got to come up with it. You got to.
No, I try very hard to do the first thing that comes to my mind, even if it's not good.
Yeah.
And the first thing that came to my mind was to crouch real low like this and be like, I hope you like being tickled.
Right? I hope you like being tickled. That's pretty good.
We also used to talk about this when I was in college. My friend Kyle Moses. Maybe you're listening, Kyle. Kyle Moses, we said that if someone was like, what would you do if like some guy came up to you on the street and like pulled a knife, kind of like Crocodile Dundee style?
Yeah, that's not a knife.
And he said the best thing you should do is you just kind of like look at them and start just screaming, but not like screaming like out of fear, but just kind of like where they think you got some screws loose.
You're just like, ah!
No, more like, ah! Like that. Just kind of screaming away that they're like, what is going on?
Yeah. Not
screaming terror, screaming like start screaming like Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Like something like that. You know what I mean?
I would do it. That's a good question. That's actually a really good question.
Yeah.
But I try to stay out of fights. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I realized that after I got my first fight and I lost.
I'm going to knock you to the moon,
Well,
Johnny.
that's what I told him. And he was like, I'm going to hit you in the face with a hockey stick.
Wow. Yep. What about you guys? What's the funniest thing you think you could say before a fight that would effectively just calm it all down? Because you guys would be laughing so hard, tickling each other, you know? What kind of fight is this? Is it a pillow fight? I don't know. Breakdance fight?
Well, that's what I was thinking when you first said fight. It was like, well, is this like a fist fight, like a physical altercation?
Well,
or is this like
fights aren't a real thing, David.
No, but if they were like, but I was saying if it was like a fight with my wife or a fight with my kids.
No.
Like,
I mean a fist fight, like a good old fashioned fisticuffs.
Well, fisticuffs. Yeah, I would say I'd knock you to the moon, Johnny. Even if their name wasn't Johnny. That's what I'd say.
I think I'd say, I hope you like getting tickled.
Hope you like it. That's a good one.
And then I would just get real low.
If anyone's noticing, I am drawing you, just so you know, because that was the.
Can you make me super buff? Like real swole. All right, guys, we're going to come back in a minute. And today what we're discussing is how to use the Discovery Bible Study, also affectionately known sometimes as the 3/3 study, how to use the Discovery Bible Study to have and facilitate an awesome discipleship group.
All right.
We'll be back.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. David is sketching away.
Back in. Guess who's back?
I have a feeling that this podcast is going to be 90% me talking because David is just so focused.
I'm having a hard time, but I'm sick of getting text messages from Jerry because he's disappointed because I didn't draw.
Well, even Kim Noon came in today during prayer and she's like, "Where is it?
Where's the drawing?"
And David's like, "Where's what?" And she's like, "Hope you like getting tickled." Because she was going to fight him.
Yeah.
She was going to fight him. But anyway.
Out of context, that is a really bad
You have to go back to the question of the day. You got to go back. You got to go back 5 minutes. All right, guys. So listen, we're going to talk about, it's a discipleship group season. Discipleship groups are rearing back.
Roaring and ready to grow.
They're getting ready to start again.
Yep.
And so we're going to talk about how to use the Discovery Bible Study to facilitate a great discipleship group. Okay. And so that's
I didn't know you had such a widow's.
Oh yeah,
widow's peak. See, that's the thing. Drawing and art is all about like you're really noticing.
Yeah,
and I'm like
really how this eye is closed more than this eye.
Yeah,
you ever notice that?
I notice it now, and everyone else will too. Because I'm gonna draw you a little. You're gonna have a little eye.
Okay, so here's the deal, guys. Now I lost my train of thought. All right, here's the deal.
We're ramping up.
One of the things that we want you to know with the discipleship group is that it's loosely based on the same things that we talk about all the time at Revolve, up, in, and out. We want you to connect up with God, in with one another, and out with God's mission. And so sometimes you'll hear us refer to a Discovery Bible Study as a 3/3 group. And so I want to kind of up front, I want to talk about that so we can kind of define some terms, all right? Because there can be some confusion here. 3/3, Discovery Bible Study, Discipleship Group, Discovery Group.
DBS.
What? DBS? I don't get it.
All the things.
So I'm going to do that real quick. All right. Discovery Bible Study is a method of reading the Bible. All right. It can be done with people who are seeking after Jesus, people who don't know Jesus. It can be done in a simple way or in a profound way. The key part of a discovery study is in that first word. Discovery. The point is you're not reading a commentary to learn about a passage. You're just asking questions, right?
Yeah.
And so what does it teach about God? What does it teach about man? If it's true, what should I do? If it's true, who should I tell? Real big, broad brushstrokes.
Yeah.
When we say Discovery Bible Study, we mean you're reading the Bible in a way that is led by discovery.
Yes.
You don't have to do that. It's all right.
I'm already put it away. I'm already done. It's finished.
Now, that's different from a 3/3 group. A 3/3 group is where you'll use the Discovery Bible Study, but a 3/3 strongly incorporates all three parts in equally divisible.
Divisible.
One nation,
that's the right word.
Under God.
Indivisible.
No, 3 divided portions. So if you have a 90-minute time, you would spend 1/3 of it looking back.
30 minutes.
Yeah. Care, prayer, and accountability. 1/3 of it looking to God's word, looking up the Lord. And reading basically that's where you're doing that DBS, what's teaching about God, man, what are you going to do, who you can tell. And then 1/3 of it looking ahead, how are you going to obey this, who are you going to share it with, right? And like you said, David, you said it right before we started, the core of being a healthy disciple is what 3 words that we say all the time?
Hear, obey, and share.
That's it. And so the Discovery Bible Study is a way to teach you how to hear, obey, and share. And the 3/3 is a way to hold you accountable in hearing, obeying, and sharing.
Yeah.
Now, the difference between a discovery group and a discipleship group is what?
So the discovery group is more geared for non-believers or people who have never read the Bible. They've yet to discover salvation in Christ. So
they're brand new and they're like real green.
So the discovery group is they are discovering all of these things for the first time, where a discipleship group is these are folks who have already been committed to surrendering their life to Jesus. They're also committed to the body of Revolve, or the body of a church. And then so they're doing discipleship together, where they're here obeying and sharing in community. Yeah.
Because discipleship is just a fancy word that means helping other people follow Jesus.
Yeah.
Right. And so if I'm
So you're
discipling
doing that
David
in a group.
Yes. If I'm discipling David, I'm being like, I'm gonna help Dave follow Jesus. And if
Yeah.
Dave is discipling me, he's like,
But a discovery Bible study,
Guess he's not
a
gonna help me
discovery
follow
study,
Jesus.
no, a discovery study. So that's the thing. We have discovery study, which is like the meeting.
yeah,
And then you have a discovery Bible study, which is the method.
right.
And I think people get that confused. And that's probably our fault. But
Yeah, it's probably our fault. But you know what? We're in too deep.
yeah, we're in too
It's
deep
been
now.
14 years.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Change all the titles?
Nope.
Confuse people even more? No,
No.
we're not.
No.
And so this is what we want to do. The
So
discovery.
can you do a discovery Bible study in a discipleship group?
Yes, you can, David.
See? Because
And
it's a
that's-
method.
And that's what we're talking about today.
Yeah. All right.
And so what Dave and I are going to do is we're going to take out this orange rack card, which you guys can grab on Sunday morning or from the office. And we're going to show you, talk through what it actually could look like on the ground. And then we're going to talk through best practices. And I know you're thinking we could have just read it, but you won't.
You won't.
So we're going to
Yep.
talk through it.
Let's talk through it.
All right, Davey, you want to kick it off?
Yeah. So we will just go through each section here. All right. So this the first third of your group is looking back, catch up, prayer, and accountability. And the main purpose of this is to, I think, is the accountability, because we want to hear, obey, and share. And the obedience part is, it's easy to get together and read the Bible and just like learn about it.
Which is basically the middle part of the
Yeah.
3/3.
But what we want to do in that first part is accountability of me saying to Bill, hey, last week you said this is how I'm going to obey it. How you living that out? How's
Yeah.
that going for you? You know, where did you see some wins? Where did you see some struggles? And it's just kind of catching up. It's doing life together, but doing it intentionally to point back to the word.
Right. And so I think there's two ways that you could go about this, right? One is, for example, you come to the office, you have your DG, your discipleship group, and you kind of walk around, you're like, everybody share a prayer request. Everybody
Yeah.
share accountability. And you can do it that way,
Yeah.
but it can feel pretty forced,
Yeah.
right? I think what we've seen in discipleship groups, and sometimes that's what you have to do because maybe you're meeting in Dunkin' Donuts or whatever it might
Yeah.
be. But what we've seen effective for a lot of discipleship groups is, let's say that you're going to get together. If you spend the first portion of your evening maybe sharing an appetizer or just kind of like having a cup of coffee with your friends and you're just catching up. Hey, David, what's going on this week? I don't have to say, David, tell me what you're thankful for and what's stressing you out.
Yeah.
If I just say, hey, tell me about your week, then I'm going to learn those things,
Mhm.
right? And if that portion of your group takes you like 2 hours to go through, it's probably because you guys aren't actually spending enough time together during the week, even
Yeah.
just texting, right?
Yeah, that was the next thing I was going to say. Was a lot of times that portion doesn't need to be so deliberate, because if you're actually doing life together, a lot of those things naturally come up in conversation if you're communicating every day.
Right.
You know, but if this is the only time you're talking, is this 90-minute time?
Then it's going to be a data dump. 90
Yeah.
minutes of data dump.
Yeah, yeah. Which, in my opinion, isn't really a healthy discipleship group, because you're not really doing life together. You're just having a Bible study together once a week.
Yeah, you're basically catching up and doing a Bible study.
Yep. Yep.
And so during that first third, you want to catch up. What are you looking for as you catch up? I want to know how David's week is going. I want to know what went well, what tensions are going on in his life or in his family, so I know how to pray for him. And if something comes up and he's like, I'm really struggling with this, that, or the other thing, it might be as simple as me saying, hey, David, can I pray for you real quick? And then I pray for him. Like Dave and I just had a conversation with someone a couple minutes ago, came into the office, and we just prayed together for a couple minutes. Not a big deal, okay? Accountability, sometimes it's really tangible, like David said. Other times it's not. And so let's pretend that last week we didn't have a real clear action step and it just was an encouraging time. And so what does accountability look like if I don't have like homework from the previous week? Like if you're discipling me, what are you looking for as I'm sharing, or what would you ask me maybe?
Well, I could ask you, you know, how are things going, you know, with your wife? How's your relationship? I would, that's kind of like a hard thing to just ask out of the blue. Because we have a relationship, I would kind of already know, like, hey, I know that there's, school's coming back to,
Sure.
back in session. And last year was some problems in school. So I would say, well, how you feeling like with school coming back up? Like, how's that? How are you doing? Are you spending some time in prayer with your wife? So because this is an ongoing meeting, I would know
You
the
would know what
questions
to
to
ask.
ask, know?
Or you might know someone's reading the book of Joshua.
Yeah.
What's the Lord showing you in Joshua?
Yeah. So
whatever it might be.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great question, is what's the Lord showing you and what are you doing about it?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think all of these things with everything that we do, these are guidelines to help you.
Yeah.
But it's natural and there's a relationship involved. But it's like, if this is a Discovery Bible study, you're just getting to know someone, you may not know what to ask. So
yeah. So if you're doing a Discovery Bible study with people who are not really as close to you, you might need to ask these things very directly.
Yeah.
But if you have a relationship, and for me, the look back portion, that first portion, that's what it's all about. It's relationship.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I want to help David. I want to sharpen David. David wants to sharpen me. We want to help each other follow Jesus. And so accountability, sharpening, mutual encouragement, whatever word you want to use, the goal of look back is the relational piece, right?
Yeah. And I'm thinking of my own discipleship group. If someone texts something out, on like a Tuesday, like, hey, I'm getting ready to go into this meeting, pray for me. That would be an opportunity to be like, hey, you texted everybody on Tuesday. How did that pan out? You know? But again, that's
also a form of accountability.
It's ongoing relationship. So we're just kind of like continuing that. And yeah.
So the first part is where you're building the ongoing relationship.
Yeah.
Kind of like what David just said. All right. The second portion, the middle third, is when we look to God's word. And this is when most people say Discovery Bible Study, they actually are referring to this. Even though a true Discovery Bible Study is all of these things, most people are thinking that. And so when most people think DBS, what are they actually thinking about? What goes on in this middle section?
They're thinking of the read the passage, summarize the passage. What's it say about God? What's it say about man? That's basically what they're saying the Discovery Study is. But there's the first part of the accountability, and then the second part of the third part of being, if this is true, what do I do and who do I tell?
Yeah.
So, but traditionally, Discovery Bible Study, people are thinking that's center part.
And so the important thing, the thing that I would like you to remember in this middle portion is that word, discovery.
Yeah.
Discovery. The point is not, the only question I can ask is, what does this teach me about God?
Yeah.
No, the point is discovery, as opposed to lecture, or as opposed to teaching, or as opposed to commentary. And so maybe some of the questions we have here, but what are some other questions that people could ask that are still discovery oriented that might give them a more robust study of the Bible?
Well, I would say if you were, if you're facilitating this study and you just talked about something that someone was struggling with in their accountability, say it's to be a good husband, you could maybe ask, well, what does this passage teach us about, loving our families well, or loving our communities well? So asking the questions, so not saying, well, see, Bob, this is what you should have been doing because this is what it says here. It's saying, it's asking the question, well, what does this teach us about, being a good father in this passage? So instead of saying, what does it teach about man, or what does it teach about humans? It's like, well, what does this teach us about being a good boss at work?
So you can ask more questions as they're revealed by the text, as well as they're revealed by the situations in your group. Yeah. And I think along those same lines, remember that part of reading the Bible, we have what's people call it the curse of knowledge. It's like, in other words, if you've been in the Bible for 10 years, there's things you already know, which someone who's never been in the Bible doesn't know. Like, for example, if you've never read the Bible before and you've never seen The Chosen, nobody knows what a Pharisee is. Yeah. And so it's like, it's okay to say, are there any words here that we need to define? Yeah. That's still discovery. You know what I mean? Or it's okay to say, who wrote this? Does anybody know when it was written? Because whether this book takes place during Jesus's life or after Jesus's death, or during the Old Testament? Like, those are important questions to know.
Yeah,
You know what
and
I mean?
think and the pro tip in that is if you are in my group and you say, "What is a Pharisee?" I don't even know what that is. The temptation for me as the leader, facilitator, is to just tell you,
Yeah.
rather than say, "Hey, does anybody else in the group know what a Pharisee is, or can we infer something by reading this text once
Right.
more?" So it's like fighting that resistance to answer those questions when they come up. If someone else asks a question,
Especially if someone else can answer it. I mean, there's
Yeah.
obviously some things that are just like, well, what is Babylon? Well, okay, well, that might be hard to know
yeah,
for someone, but like, to say, does anybody else know what is a Pharisee, and to let somebody else answer it, I
yeah,
think is good, because then you're modeling empowerment.
yeah,
And so I always think about those questions when you're in elementary school: who, what, why, when, where, how. It's still discovery if you're asking those questions. Hey, who wrote 1 John?
yeah.
Oh, John wrote. Who was John? Oh, he was one of Jesus' best friends. You know what I mean? That kind of idea.
Was there 3 Johns? Were they triplets?
Yeah,
and it
triplets.
was like John. It was like
It's like-
George Foreman,
Yeah,
Foreman
like
one,
the
George
Three
Foreman.
Stooges.
Yeah,
But those are okay questions to ask. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they're questions that you get from the Bible, right? Or answers you get from the Bible. But so asking those questions, is anything unclear? Is anything confusing? And then I find that if you do all that conversation up front, then, and you end with, all right, in light of everything we just discussed, what does this teach us about God? And what do we learn about
It's
ourselves?
kind of like pulling the threads to kind of pull it all together. Yeah, that's good.
So it's like you end with that. So it's begin with, hey, is anything unclear? Is anything confusing? Are there any terms? Asking questions about the text, and not just you, but everybody can ask questions. What do you guys think that means?
Yeah,
And then at the end, kind of pulling it together where you quote, do the DBS.
yeah, that's great, because it is there is this sense of like kind of summarizing it and like pulling it all together. It's good.
And those questions come up naturally. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, you don't have to, when a question comes up naturally, that's okay. And if conversation feels stalled, maybe ask a question,
Yeah,
And so, but the key point is discovery. It's you're discovering from the word. Right?
yeah. Even like I find, like I might even say, like, look at verse 7. Like, what can we learn about God in verse 7 about God's character? Because like even that, it's like, it's just kind of like, I could say, well, you see in verse 7 what's happening here, but even just asking that, and
well, like we read Psalm 116 during prayer.
Yeah.
And he says, I love the Lord because he heard my prayer for mercy. He inclined his ear. And you might say, guys, what does it teach you about God that God inclines his ear to hear David's prayer? What does that teach you about God's character?
Yeah.
That's still discovery, as opposed to me saying, everybody look at this, verse 2, it says, in teaching.
Yeah.
So that's the middle third. So first third is you're connecting relationally with each other. The middle third, you're basically saying to the Lord, what do you have for us? What do you want us to hear?
Yeah.
And then the final third is when we talk about obeying and sharing. And
Yeah. So what's important is we want to be not just hearers of the word, but doers of the word, right? And the danger that often happens in Bible studies is a traditional Bible study is you come, you sit around, you talk about the word, but then it's like, but what does my life look different now that I've encountered this text?
Yeah.
Because like to go back to the Psalm 116 example, like that, oh, that's great. I love knowing that God hears my prayers, and that even when I'm feeling in Sheol, I can call out to him and he hears me. That's great to talk about it. That's really encouraging to read during prayer. But how does my life look different?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, so we look at the formula, I guess, that we use is SPEC, right? Is there a sin to avoid? Is there a promise to remember? Is there an example to follow or a command to obey? So you think about, Psalm 116, an example to follow is that
cry out to the Lord.
Cry out to the Lord, right? So that's, my life looks different to know that the Lord hears my prayers. So this week, when I get stressed about whatever we talked about in our looking back accountability time in the beginning, I can say, okay, this is how I'm going to respond now. I'm going to cry out to the Lord.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're actively wondering, what does it mean, boots on the ground tomorrow? What does this mean for my life?
Yeah.
And the same thing with who to share with. You know, to even just ask the Lord, is there anybody I could share this passage with?
Yeah.
You know, and the Lord might say, you know what, encourage your buddy boy
Yeah.
with this passage.
Old buddy boy.
Go text buddy boy.
Yeah.
You know, because he just got in a fight and why dumb.
Yeah.
And he needs a little encouragement.
He just sent someone to the moon.
He needs encouragement.
Yeah.
And so you might feel like, you know, God put that person on my heart. I'm gonna text them and just share these verses with them.
Yeah.
But we remember you're spending a third in each time.
Yeah.
So that means that in this section, you're actually giving time to think.
Mm-hmm.
And you're giving time to wait on the Lord. And then if I say, David, what are you thinking? And he said, you know, I think I'm going to really remember to pray this week. And maybe I write that down. Maybe I ask him, is there a particular area where you feel like you don't pray?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't pray when I get in Wawa fist fights.
Yeah.
And so, well, maybe if you had prayed, you wouldn't have gotten in that Wawa fight.
Yeah.
You know, and so we're encouraging each other in that.
Yeah. And it's not, and I think there's a danger, and maybe it's just my growing up and my, you know, theology from growing up, that there's this danger of like, well, I have to do something, right? I have to do something. There's some sort of action because, you know, God wants me to, you know, he's trying to whip me into shape for something. But I don't think that's it. But I just think it's
These aren't SMART goals.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like, it's your heart. How is your heart changing? And if your heart's changing, you desire to want to avoid this sin or obey this command. And it's kind of like what you were talking about on Sunday with, you know, we want to obey God because we love him, you know, and it's like, if you love him, you obey him. If you obey him, you love him.
Ooh, can I give an example of this?
Yeah, for it.
Let's pretend that when you get stressed, you smoke. Just get a bunch of cigarettes out, just pound a pack.
Yeah.
So behavior modification would say, this week I'm going to stop smoking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whereas what you
read Psalm 116 and I'm going to stop smoking.
Right. Whereas what you should say is, I'm going to remember that God hears my prayers when I'm struggling. And so I'm going to try to pray instead of just immediately run into anxiety.
Yeah.
Those are two very different applications.
Mm-hmm.
And if you run to the Lord, you're going to find over time, you might actually stop smoking.
Yeah.
Not because you're like, stop, but because the Lord is changing you.
Yeah. So that's the point of the obey section. It's not like we're just trying behavior modification and it's like, well, I'm going to pray 10 minutes more every morning. And it's like, so just remember that the obey part of it. And again, the share, there may not be, sometimes it is. It's really clear. Like, I got to share this with Bill. I know this is what he's struggling with. This is a perfect word for him. Or a coworker shared this problem with me, and this is a great word for them. It may not always be that obvious. I think sometimes people get discouraged. Like, I don't know who to share it with.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you just erase that from the Discovery Bible Study, it's like, then you're not here obeying and sharing.
That's right.
But at least it's in there to get you thinking, okay, well, if I come across somebody this week who's struggling with anxiety, maybe this passage would be an encouragement to them.
And you'll be
so
more
you're kind of like,
it's
like locked in your brain, like filed away of like, oh, I remember I read this, 2 days ago at Discipleship Group. I'm going to share this.
Yeah, that's good. I want to make a comment real quick before we forget. When you're talking about a discipleship group, it's a group with Revolve, people who have, like we talked about in the announcements, they've gone through the ABCs, they kind of understand the DNA. It's this flow of the 3/3 is really about maintaining the DNA. Mm-hmm. Discovery oriented, relational, accountable, action. It's the DNA. You're trying to maintain the DNA. If I'm doing a discovery Bible study with someone who's not yet a believer, I'm following this verbatim.
Yeah.
Not because they don't have the same toolbox as somebody who's been a believer for 5 years. And so, in other words, I'm going to stick to the script.
Yes.
Especially if it's with someone who's either a non-believer or a new believer. And why is that? They just don't know.
And why is that important? Why do you want to stick to the script with someone?
The reason it's important is because you want to put everybody, a couple reasons. One is you want to put everybody on the same playing field.
Yeah.
So like, in other words, I might say, hey, it mentions Babylon. Does anybody know who Babylon is? And then Ted answers and Frank answers and George answers. But little Davey, he has no idea. And now he feels stupid and now he doesn't want to answer. So when I'm sticking strict to the script, it's putting everybody on the same playing field, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is that if it's reproducible, we always say simple things grow, simple things multiply. And if it's the same questions week after week after week, and you're going through this, then you feel confident. You know what questions to ask when you're doing your own Bible time. You know what questions to ask if your mom says, I want to read the Bible with you, and you know what to do because you've done the same thing repeatedly, like muscle memory.
Yes. And then so the person who you're discipling, they meet someone who they want to disciple and they go, what do I do?
They know.
You're like, we've just done the same. But if every single week you're doing something different and you're like, well, we're reading this book or we're reading this book or,
Yeah.
And by book, I'm not saying like we're reading James, we're reading like this commentary on by this author. It gets like, well, I don't know. What would be the best thing to do? It's like, just read the Bible and then give them this equipment. And that's happened. I mean, both of us have discipled enough people that when they come to the point where they're discipling people, they come to you and they go, what should I do? And you go, do the same thing I did with you.
Yeah, you know what
you already know what to do.
And so I really want to stress that when we're talking about a discipleship group, it's about maintaining the DNA of look back, look up, look ahead.
Yeah.
When you're doing a discovery Bible study with seekers, stick to the script.
Stick to the script.
All right, so we're going to press pause real quick, and then we're going to come back for some facilitator tips and tricks.
That's a catchy segment title.
It's actually the topic of the time. Back.
We'll be right back.
Be right back.
Who's that old guy?
Hey, welcome back. I'm Bill. David hates it when I do this.
Oh, man.
It messes with the sound.
Yeah, when I'm editing, editor David's got to edit that out now.
No, I hope you keep it in. Otherwise, people will be like, what's Bill doing?
So it's funny. When I was talking yesterday with Angela, your sister-in-law, at the beach, and she trains and coaches people in running. And I asked her, I was just really interested in the process.
Well, you're a really big runner.
No, I'm not. That's why I'm interested in it, because it's like it's a world that I have no idea about.
Okay.
And she said one of the biggest frustrations as a coach is she's given you a plan, and this is the plan that works for you. And she's like, I tell people to run 3 miles and then 5 miles and then 3 miles, but then they'll run 7 miles because they feel really good. And she's like, no, I gave you this plan. There's a reason for it. And I actually said to her, I was like, that's the same thing with Discovery Bible Study. Like, everything in the Discovery Bible Study is there for a reason.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I'm going to cut this out, or I'm going to add this, you know, where it's like, well, now we're going to, we're always going to watch a YouTube video on,
whatever it is,
somebody, and it's like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with watching that. But it's like, now you've kind of messed with the DNA, and it's like the DNA is,
Sorry,
I thought there was going to be a fight outside the office.
The one guy was like, I'm going to tickle you.
And then the guy was like, I want to send you to the moon.
It was crazy.
So.
No, but that leads perfectly into our first best practice is stick to the script.
Stick to the script.
Stick to the script. So guys, each part of the Discovery Bible Study, like David said, has a purpose. We ask you what you're thankful for and what you're stressed about, because that's setting the DNA of prayer. Accountability. Yep. Going to the Word for answers, how to read, asking questions, good questions. That's hermeneutics. Coming up with an action-oriented discipleship, and obedience-oriented discipleship. Every part of the DBS is an important factor in your health as a disciple. And so stick to the script.
Yep.
All right. What's best practice number 2?
Oh, I was going to say, imitate before you innovate.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep the Bible central.
So you're imitate. Let me just comment on that. Imitate before you innovate is Lee Wood, a friend of mine, always says, imitate before you innovate. And the idea is imitate the DBS for long enough that it's locked into your brain. And then you can kind of be a little bit looser to stick to the DNA instead of the script.
Yes. Yeah. Keep the Bible central, right? So everybody that says something, they say something, talking about the Pharisees, and then someone goes, well, the Pharisees were the bad guys. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's true. But
Yeah.
where do you see that in the scripture?
Yeah.
And it's like always pointing to the Bible, and it's just fighting against that.
Yeah,
like,
but I read this blog
yeah, that's
on The Chosen.
yeah.
Okay, well, that's might be true, but let's just focus on the passage.
Let's
we're
focus
reading.
on the word. Yeah, a big thing that we come across a lot in our coaching is, people who have a lot of background in Catholicism, and they say, well, this, I pray to Saint Benedict because he blah, blah, blah. And it's like, or the Pope says this, and it's like pushing against that. Well, let's just keep the word central. Yeah. And there's a way to do it. I think we get leaders or facilitators get nervous that we want to you don't want to discourage people or shut them down and be like, you're wrong. Like that feels rude. But at the same time, there's a way to do it where you go, that's okay. That's a good thought, but let's just keep looking at the word and,
when it goes back to what we said before, if you're only focusing on the text, then everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
But if you ask me about a passage and then I start telling you about how I listened to this Chuck Swindoll sermon and now all of a sudden none of us are on the same page because now I just took one step up and I became the deliverer of information.
Yeah. And we want the word to be central.
Yeah.
What's next?
The third thing is encourage full participation. You always have some people who want to dominate and some people who don't want to speak up. Yep. And so sometimes you might just need to be like, hey, David, give other people a chance. Even if you need to pull them aside.
Yeah,
and be
you
like,
can do that after the meeting or something.
You don't have to shame them.
Yeah.
Or you
Shut up, dummy.
Or you might say, hey, Frank, what do you think?
Yeah.
Something, but just draw people out.
Yeah. And even asking a question like, hey, Frank, what do you see in chapter 7 or verse 7 or something, even asking a very specific question.
Yeah.
Because they may be so overwhelmed, they might not even be able to formulate their thought.
Right.
So just asking someone and,
I also give people an out. Like, for example, let's say that we're going around and I might say to Frank, hey, what do you see? And I can tell he's struggling. I might say something like, it's okay if you saw something that somebody else pointed out already. And then they go, oh yeah, I was going to say the same thing as David.
Yeah.
And it's that's okay. Nobody likes feeling put on the spot.
You're a nice leader.
Yeah.
So the opposite of that would be our next tip would be sharing in sentences, not paragraphs. That is, that's a challenge.
You always get the one guy.
Yeah. It's usually you, Billy.
I'm a bad facilitator.
No, that's definitely not true.
No, these are people who they aren't content to just say, it really shows me that God, he inclines himself, shows me that he cares for me.
Yeah.
Instead, they're like, and then they go on a 5-minute.
Yeah.
They get a little microphone, little carry portable speaker.
That's tough. I always with that, I always just kind of say, even in the meeting, I'll say, hey, just those are really great points, but for the sake of time, we all have to be done by 8:30. Everyone's got to get to work. Yeah. So let's just keep the passage moving. But those are really great thoughts.
Shut up.
Those are great thoughts, Frank. I love all those thoughts.
Yeah, don't answer all the questions. We kind of said this already, but just redirect, hey, what others think of that? Can somebody show me that in the passage? Does the passage tell us what a Pharisee is? Try to redirect back to it. And this comes up sometimes. You'll be doing something like Genesis chapter 1, and they're like, well, what does it mean to be made in the image of God? And you have two choices. You can either answer it, or you could say, the Bible doesn't really explain it in this passage, but it's a great question. Yeah. And maybe we can give you some other things to read later or something like that.
Yep. Yeah. You don't have to answer every single question. That's the other thing that's so I'm going sidebar here. I really want to drive home. We're trying to change the language from discipleship group or Discovery Bible Study leader to facilitator. So when you start thinking of yourself as a facilitator, that gives a lot more freedom to not feel like you have to answer all the questions. Yeah. You're like, well, I'm just facilitating this discussion, and that discussion isn't really for right now. So it's so if we start thinking of ourselves not as leaders where we have to tell everybody all the answers, but if you're just facilitating,
that's great.
You're like, well, that's just going off topic. Let's stay on topic.
I feel like that should be a point on here, David.
Yeah. Which one's that one?
No, that one. I'm saying that was good.
Oh,
I'm saying you had a good thought.
Oh, thank you. You were so gentle but firm.
Well, that is the next point. You got to be gentle but firm. Yeah. If someone dominates, you just got to be like, You just got to say to them, hey, let's stay on topic, or that's really interesting, but let's get back to the text.
Yeah.
And we just talked about this, but
yeah, keep time balanced. This is I think this is a struggle for most groups, and I think it's a struggle for most. If you're naturally very like social and chatty, like the accountability time is the fun time. You're going to catch up and talk about everything.
Sure.
If you love studying the word, you're like, I want to like spend 50 minutes.
I have no time
in the
for
word.
friends.
Yeah. Or if you're super like, you want to be missional and you want to be out, you're like, we're just going to spend 45 minutes practicing 3 circles and sharing our testimony with one another. So it's really, we're naturally bent based on our personality and our passions to lean into one or the other. But so I really have to, like, for me, even when I lead, just to fight against not like leaning in the first 2 and just like rushing through the last one.
Sure. Yeah. I think that's a great observation.
Yep. Oh, this is a good one.
Ideal group size let's talk about for a discovery Bible study versus a discipleship group.
Okay.
So I would say for a discovery Bible study with seekers, the ideal size is probably like 4 to 6, something like that, 4 to 8 max.
See, if we would have planned ahead, this would have been a fun place to play a game.
Oh, where we
like wrote it on a paper.
Yeah.
So would you say 4 to 6?
4 to 8, 4 to 6, 4 to 8, something like that, including the facilitator.
Yeah.
But for a discipleship group, what would you say?
Discipleship group? I mean, my group is at like 7, 6, I think. And I like that. But I think, sometimes you have couples, if you have like 4 couples, that's probably a good size, like 8 people.
Yeah. I think that's a good observation. If it's couples versus singles.
Yeah, because if it's couples
and one couple's gone.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about like, if you're thinking of like life on life, where if you had a group of 8 guys, it might be hard as like for 8 guys to like do life together, where like 4 or 5 guys you could do life together, and then 4 or 5 women could do life together. So I mean, it's like you hear that a lot with our discipleship groups, where it's like the women are real active, the men are real active together, and then they come together once a week.
So maybe thinking of it, instead of viewing it as people, maybe viewing it as units. Like a family unit.
Yeah, so I'd say 4 or 5.
Yeah, because you don't want, so if you have like, for example, if it's a bunch of single guys, you might be fine with 4 to 8 people. But if it was couples, like 3 couples, which is 6 people, I think is like, that's tough.
Yeah.
Because now it's like one couple doesn't show up and you're like, are we still going to meet?
Yeah.
And so think of it as a unit, 4 to 8 units, though 8 couples is too big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Logistically,
who has a house that can,
sure. And then it's like, who's not talking? Because now you got 16 people in the room.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, I would say the answer for that is situational, and make sure that you can hit all the points. Can you do accountability well with 12 people?
Are half your people not talking?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, oh yeah, we could have 12 people in your group, but only 3 people are actually talking.
And if you have 12 people in your group, realize you're probably going to have to do accountability in small clusters. You might have to do prayer in small clusters. You might even decide that we're going to actually split up into 2 groups and we're going to do 2 discovery studies at the same time instead of 1.
And then you're going to be like Jesus. You're going to have to pick 3 favorites, and then 1 super favorite, and then 1 who's going to
probably deny you.
Yeah. So not really be your friend.
But you still got to wash his feet.
Yep.
All right. Next to last, and I'll let David close us out.
You miss rotate facilitation. That's like,
oh gosh, Dave, what did I do?
Goodness gracious.
All right, go talk about it.
Rotate facilitation. So going back to the word being the word being the leader, the word being the guide, it's not me. So I need to rotate, because if you're facilitating well, you're just asking questions.
Yeah.
So you don't need to know all the answers of what a Pharisee is and what a Sadducee is and what the difference is and all that, because you're just asking questions.
Yeah.
So that facilitation needs to rotate. So for 2 reasons. If the facilitation rotates, it takes the spotlight off of the leader. It puts the spotlight on the word.
Amen.
And then the second thing is it prepares everyone into group for when the group eventually should multiply. That's our goal. If you listen to 2 weeks ago podcast, is to multiply. Everyone in the group feels comfortable to multiply
They're getting some practice.
because they're getting practice in. So
Which really leads us to the next tip and trick, which is look for potential new groups.
Yep.
That your people you should be doing this in such a way that your people would feel encouraged and confident to go and start their own group and gather some people.
So this is, and we're running late on time, but this is something that I think we could lean into for a moment. There is a sense in discipleship groups where, because you're so personal and you're doing life together, you become friends and you become comfortable, and no one wants to like not hang out with their friends.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like if this podcast is a multiply into 2 podcasts.
Oh my gosh.
Like I enjoy spending time with you. But if you're like, all right, David, we're going to do 2 podcasts and you have to be a rando Frank, that doesn't sound like very fun.
Popere Frank.
Yeah. But so how do we do that? Like,
I think that you need to remember, and again, this is situational, but I'm just going to speak from my own experience.
yeah. And this is coaching. This is our groups. These are questions that we are actually having.
David and I used to be in a discipleship group. We're not in a discipleship group.
No.
It doesn't mean that we're not friends. Right? At least I think we're still friends.
I think
maybe
we are.
David disagrees. But
yes.
the point is, just because you're not in a group doesn't mean you don't have to be friends.
Yeah.
Like you might say, I'm going to start a group because I want to be pouring into other people, and you can still have dinner with your friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I realize that schedules are tight and life is tough, but we also live in a time where it's never been easier to stay connected. Like I often, almost every day, will send a voice memo of like what I'm chewing on and what I read that morning and what I'm thinking about with an update. And is that as ideal as like sitting down at Avalon Bagel, having a bacon, egg, and cheese and a coffee? No, but it's also nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think, remember that like most of the times, if your goal is to make disciples and multiply, then you're going to be pouring into different people.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean you abandon your other relationships.
Yes. Yeah. You can stay friends with the people that were in your other group. You can, once a month make a thing where we still get together.
Sure.
There's some people that if you are an older person, you could be in 2 groups.
Yeah, because
right?
you don't have little kids, you're running to soccer practice.
Yeah. So if you have a little bit more time or you're retired and it's like, okay, well, I'm going to be in this group and I'm going to be, participating in this group, but I'm going to facilitate this Discovery Bible study.
That's great.
And be in both groups.
Right.
We don't want you being in 6 groups every night of the week. That's not healthy.
Of course not. Yeah. But the point is that you have, again, it's situational.
Yeah.
Now, depending your stage of life, your season of life, your work schedule, you may only have time for 1 group. You may have time for 2 groups.
Yeah.
But just remember that we're not asking you to abandon your friendships, but at the same time, sometimes you have to leave your friends.
Yeah.
In
like
order
Toy
to go
Story.
Like Toy Story.
Sometimes you just got to go. Like Buzz and Woody. I don't know.
I never saw Toy Story after the first one, so.
Well, don't see Toy Story 4 because it's horrible.
Horrible,
and I never saw
cry a lot or what?
No, horrible is a bad story. It's a bad story.
I wouldn't know. I never saw it.
Woody has to go out and follow his dreams. Forget his friends. I don't care about my friends anymore. This is about Woody time. And I was like, Woody is a selfless leader.
Wow.
And you got to be like, screw you, Andy's friends, Andy's toys.
Tell me what you really think, David.
Yeah.
Wow. Something struck a nerve.
Yeah.
Lord,
sorry.
Why is David? Anyway, apparently David's deepest fear is that I'm going to abandon him to pursue my dreams.
Well, it would be different if you abandoned me to like go plant a church or to go become a missionary in, Malaysia or something. But to just be like, I need to follow my dreams.
Over here.
I'm going to not be your friend anymore because I got to buy this boat and like live by myself at the carnival.
Woody.
With Bo Peep.
Wow.
Goodness gracious. I was so
Woody,
mad.
get your stuff together.
All right, what's the last one here? Now I'm in a bad mood.
Encourage clear obedience.
Yes.
Is people, when you say, hey, what does this mean for tomorrow? There's always that guy who's like, I'm just going to love God.
I got to love God more.
And so, okay, it says that God inclines his ear. Yeah, I'm going to pray more. It says that God inclines his ear to you. So How's that going to change? Have them actually come up with clear things. When I'm stressed this week, I'm going to try to go to prayer instead of jumping straight to my vices or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Clear action steps.
Yep. That's great. That was good, Billy.
David, you did a nice job. You had some zingers in there.
I did.
Yeah.
And I did that rant about Toy Story. And then I drew this picture of you, Billy.
Oh, it looks just like me.
It looks just like you. So this is the first time. It's actually the first time I've
Can you
ever
real quick make it so that like my bottom half of my bus is just like a unicycle or something like that?
No. No. What
Or
I
like
look
a
like?
spider leg. Like the robot from that Mars movie.
I don't know what
Mars
you're talking about.
Attacks.
So I've never drawn a person like while they were like talking. Like I only draw people
Also,
like from photographs.
I thought you were going to draw me as a fish.
Oh.
There you go. Perfect. Fish Billy.
Nailed it. Fish Billy.
Yeah.
All right. So if you're listening to the podcast, you missed out on the picture of Fish Billy.
Fish Billy. That's what they call me, actually.
So if we were to boil it all down, it's hero, obey, and share. This is a tool. It's not the silver bullet.
Yeah.
It's not the best tool. It's not the worst tool, but we really like it.
We really like it because it equips you to discover God's word for yourself and to lead others on the same journey of discovery.
Exactly.
And that's how we're going to catalyze. Amen.
All right.
That's all
Enjoy
she
your
wrote.
week.
Is that a bubble?
Yeah, well, because you're underwater fishing. I don't even remember what the question of the day was. The
Question of the day was, what are you going to say to fight?
Yep.
Rawr.
All right. Hey, if you're interested in joining a DG or a Discovery Bible study, there is a link in the description, both on Spotify and on YouTube. So click that link and let us know, because we are this week and next week really kind of starting to put all the groups together so they can launch in the fall.
All right.
All right.
Talk to you soon, kiddos.
Bye-bye.